I pulled your mic up on accident. Welcome to the AVG Fantasy Football Podcast. This is episode 77 of season 3. My name is Michael Marcanio. I'm the host with the hostess, Twinkies. What up? Who doesn't love Twinkies, baby? But no, for real, I'm here with my boy Tyler Revelis, also known as It's Your Boy T. One of the best in the business. I'll give you a little mic action there.
I'm jacked up on Mountain Dew right now, dude.
I'm all jacked up on your mother.
These waivers, dude. It's last week, week 13.
Week 13, baby.
You know, you're either in the playoffs, you're not in the playoffs, or you're in the cusp of the playoffs, dude. It's only one of 3 options right now. Make
or break, maybe even snake. But yeah, we're going to go over some waiver wire items going into week 13. This is like, you know, at this point, you know, it's almost there. Actually, there's some leagues I'm on the cusp. So there's definitely going to be some people out there that they need the win this week. This is a very important waiver wire episode. Actually, I'm not going to play. I'm not going to play it like it's not. Okay, it's very important. All right. But before we get into it, I will say this podcast is recorded live on the AVG Fantasy Football Twitch page. We used to record live on our podcast or on our YouTube page. Wait, what did I just do? Did I do something? Oh no, everything's good. Good. But yeah, we used to record on the YouTube, but we lost our streaming privileges for 90 days, which is till the end of the season. So we're trying to kind of pivot. So if you would like to, you know, ask your questions, that kind of thing, you can do it live on Twitch while we record these. But also, yeah, so check out, go give us a follow on Twitch. All these links are down below. Follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter. Subscribe to us on the Apple Podcast app if you haven't already. If you are subscribed, if you want to go ahead and unsubscribe, resubscribe, it actually helps us out big time in the analytics for iTunes. Also, yeah, and if you're on YouTube, we post videos like every day almost. So if you want to go ahead and check that out, give us a subscribe on there. It would help us out big time. So that all being said, let's get into it, baby.
Pass the wire.
Pad the wire. It's time to pad the wire.
Week
also
13, pad the wire.
Pad the wire. So we're going into week 13.
So yeah, how many leagues are you in?
I'm out of the FFPC league because they do early playoffs.
Yeah, that was tough. You gotta
I'm in
hot,
6, I think. I'm in 4. Yeah, 6. I'm absolutely murdering it in our marquee league. Is anyone surprised? I don't think so. It makes sense. I'm on the cusp in like almost every other league.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah, for me, I'm in 5 leagues. Me and you were battling it out for first place. We're in the same division, so it's kind of sucks, but we're battling it out
for first
place. I think I'm actually gonna lose this week though. Lamar Jackson didn't play.
Yeah, because your team's not as good.
I tried to stream Danny Dimes. He fucking pulled his his hamstring.
Yeah,
left the game early. So yeah, it's gonna maybe potentially cost me a win this week unless Steelers defense can get me at like 25 points.
Very possible.
We'll see what happens.
Very possible.
Yeah, but I'm still gonna make the playoffs in that one with you. I'll see you in the chip, and then in one of my big money league, I guess you would call it. I'm kind of on the brink. I'm in a good spot. I'm kind of in the brink in the playoffs. I'm playing a guy who's got a pretty loaded team. I got lucky this week because he had no CMC, no DeAndre Swift, and no Thielen.
Yeah.
He's got some pretty good players, but if I can beat him, he'll be out, and I'll be locked into the playoffs no matter what I do this week coming into week 13. So kind of a big game. And then one of my leagues I've been doing forever, I can't win a game. I've literally I had Saquon, I had Eckler get hurt, Galladay's been hurt.
Yeah, you drafted the it's like, you know, sometimes you're like, I drafted a super team.
Yeah.
Everyone's
just getting hurt.
You drafted a pooper team.
Yeah, everybody is just getting hurt on my team in that league, so I can't win that.
It happens, man. There is, as much as you can go into this and make things happen, I mean, you can make some moves and it just doesn't work out for you. So not on you completely.
Yeah, that was arguably my best. Like if you saw it like after the draft.
Oh yeah, I told you, I was like, bro,
nice
this is it. Like your team is solid. Like I remember thinking that.
Yeah. Saquon, Eckler, had Dave Montgomery as my third running back.
Yeah, nuts.
Saquon, Eckler get hurt. Had Kenny Galladay. He got hurt.
Kenny Galladay's played like 3 games this year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just a couple of the players got hurt.
But yeah, let's get into it. We'll start with we always go waiver wire. We always go quarterbacks, running backs, wide receivers, tight ends, and then we'll pull out some defenses you can maybe pick up and stream this week as well. If you're not into getting those stout defenses. But yeah, we'll start with quarterbacks for the waiver wire. On the highlights, I just have all the touchdowns from week 12 going. So let's go on to the first one for quarterbacks. You ready?
Let's do it.
Are you ready, Freddie, dude?
Dude, I'm fucking so much.
All right, here we go. Ryan Fitzpatrick. This is if Tua's out, correct?
Yeah, this is if Tua's out. Some Fitzmagic. We were saying you could stream him last week. Obviously Tua took over the starting job, but he hurt his thumb during practice last week. It's one of those scenarios where, if you've seen it, where like the quarterback, he steps up in the pocket, he goes to throw the football, and he'll hit his hand on the player's helmet. So he kind of like jammed his thumb or something like that. I was looking at some reports before we got on the podcast. It said that he was out there practicing. He had his like hand and thumb taped up. But they're saying it was a good sign for Tua to come back this week. But if Tua doesn't come back, I would be looking at Ryan Fitzpatrick as a potential streaming option this week. I mean, he's so far in the week, obviously we have these Steelers and the Ravens game to play, but he's QB6 so far on this week 12 slate of games.
Which is nuts.
Yeah, so not a bad little streaming option right there. If it goes back to Tua, then I don't know if I could trust Tua. I feel like Tua's just kind of been game managing, with how good the defense has been over there. Whereas
they like not pushing him.
Fitzmagic's just been gunslinging it. Fitz is just like, he's literally, this is Fitz.
Hug it, chug it, football.
That's him.
Yeah. And then obviously, you got guys like Devontae Parker. His value obviously gets boost. Gesicki's value gets boost with Fitzpatrick out there. So yeah, just something to monitor, but not a bad streaming option. I wouldn't waste a waiver claim on him, just someone you're trying to maybe stream quarterbacks. You just never know, pero you never know.
All right, let's go on to the next one here. The other Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, you got Ryan Tannehill right here. I know, he hasn't been as consistent this year as he was last year. He did have first 4 or 5 weeks he came out pretty hot like Hansel, but kind of fell off. Tough schedule. He's had a couple tough games. I think like the Ravens, Steelers, Colts defense twice. So just a tough sled of games for Ryan Tannehill right there. But if you have him and you've just been holding on to him, good for you. But if he's on a waiver wire, go out and grab him. I mean, the next 3 weeks are pretty juicy matchups for a guy like Tannehill. I mean, he's going to be at home against the Cleveland Browns, which is an okay matchup. Even if you don't play him there, as soon as you get into your playoffs in weeks 14 and 15, at Jacksonville Jaguars, they're not very good. And then week 15, home against the Detroit Lions, they're not very good either. So, yeah, in weeks 14 and 15, you could potentially be streaming Ryan Tannehill as a quarterback. So if you don't play him this week against the Browns, which is still a decent matchup, you could just grab him, stash him, and then weeks 14 and weeks 15, you could potentially throw him into your lineup right there.
Wow, I want Ryan Tannehill on my team. Go on to the Minnesota Vikings. Kirk Cousins. It's like every time Kirk Cousins is always like fantasy route. Like he can do well. Like he'll put up some fantasy points. It's every year, but it's just picking the right games for him. Don't you think?
Yeah, for sure. When we're talking about in regards to like streaming quarterbacks, playing the matchups, I guess like you're saying, he's one of those guys where you can have him and then you just play the matchups, and as long as you pick the right matchup, you're right, he's going to put up some good points. He was one of my sits last week. I just didn't like the matchup against the Panthers. I figured you could run on the Panthers. It'd be more of a Dalvin Cook game. Adam Thielen was out due to COVID. He's actually returning. He returned to practice today. Adam Thielen did, so he should be good to go for Week 13, Adam Thielen. But, yeah, no Thielen last week. Irv Smith, the second-year tight end at Alabama, he was out. So I just didn't like the upside of what Kirk Cousins brought to the table. But, I mean, he finished as a top 3 quarterback. He's actually the 3rd quarterback so far, outside of this game on Wednesday between the Steelers and Ravens. And he's had 3 passing touchdowns in 3 of his last 4 games. He gets to play against the Jacksonville Jaguars this week. They're the defense that just keeps on giving. They're a bottom 5 defense in terms of points allowed to the quarterback position. So I mean, if you have Kirk Cousins or you want to stream him, it's not a bad matchup.
It's a dream matchup.
Not a bad matchup this week. And then, like I said, you're getting a guy like Adam Thielen back. Maybe Irv Smith comes back as well.
Yeah.
Not a bad matchup.
get more options for him. Then we got Taysom Hill. Taysom Hill is like we talked about it off air. Is like he's like a Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen almost. You know what I mean? He has that rushing upside. He got 2 rushing touchdowns last week. I mean, I like it if he's there. Yeah, like we originally said, oh, this guy's someone if you could get him in your tight end position, that's money. But like he's starting to become actually quarterback position relevant.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, super safe floor. I mean, I see no difference between him and Cam Newton. And Cam Newton's been pretty much like a borderline, outside of last week, Cam Newton hit a dub, but Cam Newton's been like a borderline QB1 majority of the weeks. I mean, Taysom Hill, in his 2 starts, since Breeze went down with the rib injury, he had like 17 broken ribs. But he's had 4 rushing touchdowns in 2 games, so two in each game. And then a safe floor rushing the ball, 44 or more rushing yards in 4 straight games. This week they're playing at Atlanta against the Falcons. We saw what he did 2 weeks ago against them. He carved them up pretty good. I think it was like 18 for 23. Michael Thomas had a big game. Yeah. I know Taysom Hill, he was one of my starters of the week this week. Like I said, he gets you the 40 yards on the ground and then the 2 touchdowns. So a safe floor, but in terms of throwing the ball, I think he only had like 8 or 9 completions for like 80 yards, so it wasn't anything crazy. But on the flip side, they were playing against a team that the Denver Broncos who didn't have a quarterback on their roster. I mean, you had like running backs and wide receivers playing quarterback. So, they won that game.
That was
easy.
Nuts. How do you, like, 1 week you're not good enough to play at wide receiver position, and then the next week you're the starting quarterback?
Yeah.
Like, that's, I don't know.
Supply and demand.
It's just like what's that Philly movie? Where he
with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Freedom, or it's like something like that.
I was gonna say like Invincible, but
Invincible. Yeah, that's what it is.
Dude,
very good.
Dude, you just always trying to stump me, dude. Yeah, this right here, dude.
I didn't know the answer. I actually didn't know.
Got it, dude. But yeah, Taysom Hill. I mean, like I said last week, he got the touchdowns, but the passing wasn't there. But that was due to the fact that they were just blowing them out. They didn't need to throw the ball. I'm expecting this game to be a little bit more competitive. The Falcons at home. Hopefully Julio Jones can play. That'll just help, kind of boost the score in this game, which could help Taysom Hill throw the ball more. And then even then, Taysom Hill, the rest of the season, the 5th easiest rest of season schedule for all quarterbacks. We don't know how long Breeze is going to be out. I mean, the guy, like I said, the guy's got like 1 million broken ribs, a punctured lung. I can't imagine him coming back anytime soon, at least during the rest of the fantasy season. Maybe he comes back in the playoffs, the actual playoffs. But yeah, I think Taysom Hill's a decent little option at quarterback for the rest of the way.
I couldn't agree more. All right, let's go on to the next thing here. So we're done on the quarterbacks. We'll go into handcuffs. Not the thing you tie up your spouse with. We're talking about fantasy football handcuffs. You want to elaborate?
Yeah, handcuffs. This is the time of year where, I mean, we said it last week, but I mean, really, this is the time. Especially if you're getting in the playoffs. I mean, there's no playing around. Go get your handcuffs. If you have Chris Carson, go get Carlos Hyde. If you have Aaron Jones, go get Jamal Williams. Dalvin Cook, go get Alexander Madison. Because you're getting to the point where, hey, we're getting the playoffs. There's no point. You kind of already know who your starting lineup's going to be for the most part. And there's no point in keeping, a 5th, 6th string receiver. There's no point in keeping that. There's no point in keeping like a running back who,
unless you have Will Fuller. Then
there's no point in keeping a running back that realistically you're never gonna play. You're just like, oh, I just got it. Like, go get your handcuffs, because God forbid something happens to one. You're starting running backs. At least you can have their backup, and you're not worried about it. Go get them now, and just like cover your ass going into the playoffs. Yeah, it'd be like the main thing that you could do is just cover your ass,
pull up your pants, cover your ass, fucking get a handcuff, dude.
And handcuff yourself.
Yeah, handcuff yourself.
But not to your pants.
Not to your bed either. All right, so that being said, we'll go on to running backs.
Devontae Booker, like I said, we're talking about handcuffs right here. I was actually mad at myself. I just picked up Devontae Booker in 2 leagues. And then one of my leagues, I lost Lamar Jackson, so I needed to drop him to get a quarterback. And then all of a sudden, Josh Jacobs hurts his ankle, I think it is. I think they're saying that he should be fine, and Josh Jacobs should be able to play this week. But if he doesn't, I mean, Devontae Booker is going to be the guy who pretty much takes over that lead running back role for the Las Vegas Raiders right there. And then even not, like I said, if you have Josh Jacobs, I'm going to get Devontae Booker because if, let's say he re-aggravates the ankle or he gets hurt, at least I have the backup. But then on the flip side, if the Josh Jacobs owner doesn't want to go get Devontae Booker, I'll go get him, and I'll throw him on my bench because, like he said, if Josh Jacobs gets hurt, now all of a sudden I have the starting running back for the Los Angeles Raiders. So, yeah, he'd be one of the main waiver wire targets this week.
Bing, bang, bong. Bong, bing, bong, bing, bong, ching, chong. Yes. Put Devontae Booker. Couldn't agree more. Wayne Gallman. I mean, this guy's electric.
I mean, I feel like at first we were like, oh, it's not good. Devontae Freeman's there. And Devontae Freeman did kind of take over. There was like 2 games, I think, where Devontae Freeman had like 15 or 18 total touches, and he was kind of like the main guy there. But then obviously Devontae Freeman goes down, ends up on IR. And ever since then, I mean, Wayne Gallman has just exploded. And if you've picked him up, he's been pretty much a solid RB2 for you. Safe floor every week. I mean, he's had 6 touchdowns in his last 5 games, and he's had 15 or more touches in 4 of his last 5 games. It's like when they get close into the red zone, he's, they're handing him the ball, and he's getting to the end zone. So, I mean, I think he was available in 40% of ESPN, 40% of NFL leagues. So, yeah, go get him. Like I said, I mean, the guy's just been, I mean, how long can he keep it up? Scoring a touchdown every week? I don't know. But, I mean, for what it is worth, he's been getting it done. He's been getting it done. He's putting up more points than Zeke. He's been the last couple weeks more points than Kamara. So he's just putting up more points than some of these like top tier running backs that you're looking at the name of, oh, I got to play this guy, when Wayne Gallman's on the waiver wire just scoring touchdowns each and every week.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just crazy. I was thinking about it too. Speaking about how I said I had Saquon in one league and he got hurt. It's just crazy to see like how Gallman is doing right now. Like I said, he's been a solid RB2, scoring touchdowns every single game for the last 5 weeks. Imagine if he could do that. Imagine what Saquon Barkley would be doing right now. I just think that it's like nuts. If Gallman could be this good, imagine how good Saquon Barkley would have been. We all know Saquon's a savage.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just saying like of what.
Hopefully nobody's making the argument that they don't need Saquon because Wayne Gallman can do just as much.
Yeah, no, definitely not.
Because it's.
But I was just saying, like, oh man.
But no, for sure.
It just sucks to Saquon's out because he'd probably be tearing it up.
They would be killing it in the NFC East with like 6 wins.
Yeah, for sure.
In Week 13. Let's go to the next one here. We got J.K. Dobbins.
Yes, you got your boy J.K. Dobbins here, the rookie out of Ohio State. He wasn't supposed to play this week because they had him and Ingram tested for COVID. Then the game got pushed back like 10 times. They were actually eligible to play today, which is Wednesday. J.K. Dobbins and Ingram were for the Baltimore Ravens. But I read something that they didn't fly with the team to Pittsburgh. Right. So I think it's just going to be the Gus Edwards show this week. So if you have Gus Edwards, still good for you. You should be able to get that, lion's share of the workload over there. But, I mean, I would go get J.K. Dobbins. He was 50% available in some of the leagues I saw. And since their Week 7 bye, he's played the most snaps out of any of those running backs. And he's had 14 or more touches in 3 of his last 4 games. And he's just looked like the more electric,
like the more prominent.
Yeah, it's like, they obviously went out and drafted him for a reason.
Yeah.
Obviously, they have Mark Ingram, this is probably his last year there because he was on a 2-year deal, I believe. Gus Edwards, I think, is a solid veteran running back who could be a good backup. But I think they were looking for like that guy to be like the electric playmaker who could really take this offense to another level. And that's what J.K. Dobbins is. And I think they're finally starting to realize it and give him more and more snaps, more and more touches as the season has progressed. So I would definitely go out and get him. He could be a potential league winner.
Winner
going forward and stuff like that.
J.K. Dobbins. All right, Myles Gaskin. Took the Jets, fucked them. Didn't he? Did he say something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whacked him.
There you go.
Myles Gaskin.
I
mean, yeah, Gaskin, he's been on IR for the last couple weeks. I mean, last week we tried to see if Breida could take over. We had a little bit of DeAndre Washington. They traded for him from the Kansas City Chiefs. He looked like the better running back out of Breida and DeAndre Washington and Breida. It looked like DeAndre Washington was the best running back there. But
so crazy? Like this whole preseason, we're like Matt Breida, Jordan Howard. It's like neither one of them.
Yeah. I don't know if either one of those guys will be. Well, Jordan Howard's already cut, but I don't know if Breida will be on the team next year either, especially with how good Savon Ahmed has looked. DeAndre Washington looked pretty good too, so I think they could keep him. It's probably cheaper than keeping Breida as well. But yeah, Myles Gaskin, this one's guy, he's available in a decent amount of leagues still. 10 or more PPR points in 6 of the 7 games that he's played this season. So safe floor. And like I said before, on last week's or maybe the start of Siddham's, we've kind of seen in this Flores offense for the Dolphins, whoever the lead running back is usually gets around 65% of the snaps. So they're pretty much getting a good chunk of the running back snaps.
Yeah, he's good. Yeah.
For a while, he's Myles Gaskin for a good chunk, and then he got hurt. Savon Ahmed came in. He had 2 games where he put up some solid points there. So I think he's more of like a stash. Just grab him and see what happens because we don't know if he's going to practice. We don't know if Ahmed's coming back. If Ahmed comes back, I would think that he would take back that role of what he did a couple weeks ago. But just something to monitor with these Dolphins running backs right there. But yeah, I do like Myles Gaskin.
Myles Gaskin. And we got James White. James White had a decent week 12.
Yeah, it gets you 2 touchdowns. So
yeah,
he was one of the guys we talked on the waiver wire last week. We were saying, hey, there's no Burkhead. Sonny Michel was a healthy scratch. Obviously, Damian Harris is there. He's getting a good chunk of the, carries, but not really getting utilized in the passing game. James White didn't really get that many receptions. I think he might have only had 1 reception this game, but for whatever reason, when they got inside the 5, instead of giving the ball to Damian Harris, it was James White who got a couple goal line carries, and he punched those into the end zone. But even then, still, I like James White. I'm still expecting this to be like a Damian Harris, James White type of committee here. I think Sonny Michel's just kind of washed up, and his days in New England could be done with. But the next 4 games,
he's only been in the league like 3 years. Yeah. He's washed up. It's crazy.
But yeah, James White, like I said, more of the PPR pass catching back for this offense right here. The next 4 games, they're at the Chargers. Chargers can put up some points. So I'm expecting that, these next couple games might be some shootouts or the Patriots are going to be chasing in a sense. So they might have to throw the ball a little bit more than normal. Like at the Chargers, so it should be a offense that could score. At the Rams, they could put up some points. At Miami, another game where Miami might be able to put up some points on them. And then home against Buffalo. So the next 4 weeks, you can maybe see a little more pass catching out of James White. And then if they're going to give him some goal line carries too, it just helps boost his value.
Someone in the live stream said, I'm done with Zeke.
Yeah, it's tough at this point. You gotta. At this point, it's like you gotta. If you took away the name and you just had this player A is putting up this, you'd be like, oh, that's gross. You know what I'm saying? But then, like I said, if you put up a player B over here, has had 5 touchdowns in 6 games or 6 touchdowns in 5 games, but then it's like, but that's Wayne Gallman. But it's like, oh, it's gross. I don't want to play Gallman. He's on the Giants, and
Yeah.
But at this point, bro, sometimes you have to make the bold move, and
it's not even like you're not even getting too cute with it. You know how we always say it's like, don't get too cute and play like this. When you play someone over Zeke, you can't look at Zeke as the same player.
Yeah,
like you're saying.
And like we said, I think a couple times, it just seems like he got paid. He knows that they're not very good on offense or defense. He knows that they're probably not going to make the playoffs, and if they do make the playoffs, they're probably going to get beat in the first round.
Yeah.
So I think he's just like, oh, let me just get through the season. Let me just not get injured. I already got my money. I'm just trying to get in and get out.
Yeah, I had a league last week, played Zeke and Jacobs.
Yeah.
And I got a combined total of 7 points.
Yeah, Jacobs a little different because he got banged up.
Well, yeah,
the game.
but it's just
Yeah.
You look at that and you're like, what? Oh, you definitely would have done well. But
yeah, those are guys at the beginning of the year. You're thinking oh, it's 2 top 8 running backs.
Yeah. But yeah, okay, we can move on to the next running back though. Just want to respond to that. We got Latavius Murray, the Saints backup running back, for
what it's worth,
fantasy relevant without.
Yeah, for what it's worth, just obviously Kamara was on a tear in the beginning of the year, and kind of has slowed down these last 2 weeks. And like I said, for what it's worth, the last 2 games when Taysom Hill is in at quarterback, they've literally split the snaps. 63 snaps Kamara, 63 snaps Latavius Murray. So literally a 50-50 split right down the middle. And Latavius Murray has out-touched Kamara in back-to-back games. 14 touches 1 week for Latavius, 13 for Kamara. Then 20 touches last week for Latavius Murray, only 12 touches for Kamara. I don't know what it is. Is Kamara banged up a little bit? I don't know if they're just trying to preserve him for the playoff run. Latavius Murray is a serviceable backup running back, and, it is a long NFL season. You don't want to get Kamara banged up. But for what it's worth, like I said, I keep saying it like a fucking broken record, he's at even snaps, but he's out-touched him the last 2 weeks. And, just the targets have not been there in terms of coming from Taysom Hill. I know 1 week, like last week they were blowing out the Denver Broncos, so you don't have to throw the ball a ton. But I mean, I guess now it's starting to get a little bit alarming. Like, what about Kamara? Is that like panic meter? Are you nervous or?
I mean, it's just if I can get Murray, I would get him if I can. I guess I would be a little bit nervous, yeah.
I mean, yeah, get him.
You know what I mean? That's the only option you really have at that point.
Yeah. I mean, if I've got Kamara, I'm probably grabbing him just to handcuff him. But like I said, even not, I'm going to grab him.
Yeah, even
Murray
if I don't,
just to have him. You know, he's maybe it's just a switch of offense going from like a Drew Brees. I don't want to say a pass happy offense, but Drew Brees, future Hall of Famer, going to a guy like Taysom Hill who's more of a Lamar Jackson kind of Cam Newton kind of offense. So you're gonna want to run the ball a little bit more.
You use waiver wire priority on him. I feel like you got to use him at this point, right?
Yeah, at this point, what are you really waiting for?
Yeah.
You probably already have pretty good depth, or just go out and get your players. If you got Fab, I'm going out and using my Fab on players. I'm not wasting around saving anymore. This is the time to kind of just you're going all in a sense, trying to get the best roster that you can to set yourself up for the fantasy playoffs.
Definitely. All right. Well, let's go on to the next one. We'll move into wide receivers. Thank you, it's Fragger, by the way, for the question. We'll start with Corey Davis, wide receiver for the Tennessee Titans. I mean, this guy, you see it's like night and day difference with Marcus Mariota versus Tannehill throwing the ball. Don't you think?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
A.J. Brown helps spread the field as well. He's just like, I don't know. It's almost like you need that little bit of push or help. It's good to see, though.
Yeah, I mean, this guy who's a couple years ago was drafted, I think, as the 5th overall pick.
He was drafted in the same draft as Juju.
Was he?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, nice. So, yeah. I think it was like
ninth.
I think it was the 5th overall pick in the draft.
Yeah, and then John Ross was in that same one.
Yeah. Well, but he was kind of labeled a bust until this year. I mean, like I said, Tannehill's there. I mean, Tannehill way better passer than Marcus Mariota. We called that one last year. We knew that he would take over, at some point during the season. And then, like I said, having A.J. Brown there is just, when you really got to focus on him, that just helps Corey Davis, go against these like second and third tier corners. I think he's in a contract year too. So this guy's he's making himself some money. That's for sure. He's probably going to get a nice little 4-year, $40 million, 4-year, $48 million contract coming up in this offseason. But yeah, Corey Davis, I mean, he's been the model of consistency, which is crazy because he has never really been able to put a nice string of games together, let alone multiple games in a row where he's just been a safe floor each and every week. I mean, he's had 10 or more PPR points in every single game that he's played. He got injured for 2. And then one game against the Chicago Bears, which is a pretty tough defense, the Chicago Bears, he put up a goose egg in that one. But, I mean, we've had some good receivers put up goose eggs. Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, just a couple that top of my brain that pops up. But, yeah, Corey Davis. Go get him. I mean, like I said, if he's tied to Tannehill next couple weeks are just some good matchups. I mean, weeks 14 and 15 are juicy matchups, like I said, against the Jaguars and the Detroit Lions. So, yeah, I mean, Tannehill's got to throw the ball to somebody. And, I mean, if John's going to get 0 targets or 0 points, it's obviously A.J. Brown and Corey Davis who are the guys he's looking for in his 1 or 2nd reads in the progressions.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go on to next wide receiver here. We got Deebo Samuel, the forgotten 49er, it seems like.
I know, right? I mean, I feel
I
feel like before we went to the draft and before he got hurt, Deebo was a guy that you were talking about like drafting in like the 4th or 5th round.
Yeah.
He was in that tier of like Keenan Allen and Allen Robinson, I guess you could say, of like, hey, like this is a guy where, I'm gonna go out and get him. They're like that middle round of 5 where we kept talking about like 5th round is where you want to get some receivers, there's some good value there. And like I said, he's been banged up. He's only played a couple games. I got banged up again, but I think we talked about him last week on the episode, and we said go get him. Be a week early instead of a week late because when he comes back, he's going to get incorporated in the offense. He's one of their best playmakers. I mean, the guy came out and had a monster game. 11 catches, 133 yards on 13 targets. I think there was no Brandon Ayuk in this game. So obviously that
he was like a last-minute pull.
Yeah, I think he had the COVID list or something like that.
Yeah.
I think. But, yeah, I mean, obviously the 13 targets was kind of up there. But, Ayuk comes back. Maybe he gets 6-7 targets. Even then, it's still a good amount to go to Deebo Samuel right there. I mean, I like Deebo Samuel a lot. I think I saw a crazy stat. I think he's only played like 5 or 6 games, give or take. And in terms of like missed tackles forced, he like leads all receivers in missed tackles forced. and he's only played like 6 games or something like that. Or it could be like dating back to like last year, like within the last 2 years, who's the receiver who has the most forced missed tackles? And it was Deebo Samuel, and like the asterisk underneath his name was like he's missed 6 games or whatever. And so it's just crazy. So when the guy gets the ball in space, he's got the ability to make people miss and make things happen.
All right, let's go on to the next one here. We got Sterling Sheppard, the New York Giants wide receiver, having a pretty decent couple weeks.
Yeah, we got to monitor what happened with Danny Dimes. Like I said, he slipped, trip, and
fell on his dick.
Hurt his hamstring on a run. I don't know why they're trying to run with Danny Dimes. He's not fucking Lamar Jackson out there. Guy gets like 180-yard run. They're just like, oh, we got to start doing this.
He tripped that one game, and then they were like, yeah, but they clocked him in going this fast.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, shit, he's quick.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, I agree.
Well, he's too quick for his hamstring muscles to react because, he did something to his hamstring, so we don't know if he's going to play. Could be Colt McCoy. Obviously, having a Colt McCoy in there, we don't know who he's going to lean on or what his tendencies are, but
could be better.
I mean, could be better. Who knows? But Sterling Sheppard, he's been great in PPR leagues. He's been a savage. I know this is one of Anthony's favorite guys. It just sucks because trying to go pick him up in a couple leagues, and every league I'm in with Anthony, he's on Anthony's team, and I'm just like, of course.
That'll get you.
Yeah, but he's been a savage in PPR. Since his week 6 return, he's had 6 or more receptions in all 5 of the games that he's played. So you're getting a safe floor right there. Darius Slayton's been all over the place. Golden Tate was a healthy scratch one week. He's not happy with his role in that offense. Ingram's been pretty decent. But yeah, Sterling Sheppard I think is the main receiver in this passing attack for the New York Giants. So yeah, I would definitely go out and get him. He's available on a good amount of waivers. I think it was 60% of leagues.
Yeah. Well, just like that. Put him on your team. Put him on your team. This one I love. Michael Pittman Jr. We talked about it. I feel like you established these man crushes for these guys coming into the year. And then you almost convince me. It's like I get jealous. I'm like, oh, I wanna like that guy too. So, but Michael Pittman Jr. He's since he's come back from his injury and his surgery and all that, he's been doing pretty well. And just it seems like he's getting a lot of the snap count, or getting a lot of targets, especially for a rookie. Yeah, I really like it. You see T.Y. Hilton put up some points, actually?
Yeah.
He's 143 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Finally, there's
T.Y.
Hilton's sighting.
It's like, oh, yeah, I'm like, what happened? Where did that come from?
Yeah, but even with that monster game from T.Y. Hilton, Michael Pittman still led the team in targets. He saw a season-high 9 targets, I believe. I'm pretty sure he led the team in targets there. And like you said, he's just been targeting since he came back. 7 or more targets in 3 of his last 4 games. He finished last week 2 for 28, so he puts up a dud after having the long touchdown game in week 11, and then he had 100 yards in week 10, so it kind of gets you a dud after 2 solid weeks. But 9 targets is that's, you like seeing that.
He reminds me of like a Juju, and then also kind of like when Larry moved to the slot. I don't know if that's exactly where he predominantly lines up, but that's just the way he plays. It seems like.
Yeah.
I could be wrong on that, but
I like how they utilize him a lot. They'll do crossing routes. And
that's what I'm talking about. That's that's where Juju scored all those big touchdowns, was routes like that.
Yeah. So yeah, I like Michael Pittman Jr. Go grab him. He's a rookie. We're starting to see what he's capable of. Like I said, it's a down week last week, but they have he has the third easiest remaining schedule for wide receivers. The Colts do. So even if you want to take a shot on T.Y. Hilton, I'm not going to endorse it because I don't want to get some backlash if T.Y. Hilton is a bum. But he had that monster game, and they have the third easiest rest of season schedule for wide receivers. The Indianapolis Colts do. So if you want to take a shot on the name,
or the other, shit.
If you want to take a shot on the name on T.Y. Hilton, I know he was available on a good amount of waiver wires or leagues.
I'm with you. I wouldn't feel confident.
You gotta go with your gut if you're feeling it, but just know there is some risk there. He'd be like a high risk, high reward type of waiver wire picker right there. If I'm gonna pick one, I think I'm gonna go with the rookie, which is crazy to say.
Yeah. All right. I think. Oh yeah, one more. We got KeeKee Coutee. This is a sad thing because Will Fuller got busted. He's bad boy. What you gonna do? He fucking PED'd it up. I don't blame the guy. He's been injured a lot. So Will Fuller is suspended for 6 games the rest of the season. That leaves a lot of openings for guys like Brandon Cooks, Randall Cobb, and maybe KeeKee Coutee.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks for Will Fuller. Did you see the tweet he sent out or the?
No.
He's just talking about like he apologized and he said that in the offseason he had went to go see a doctor for an injury or something like that, and he had prescribed him like a certain medication, and he had like asked him like, hey, is this okay? And they were like, yeah. And then he like asked, I don't know, he like asked to make sure. He was trying to be safe, and they were like, yeah, it's okay. I mean, he could just be saying this, but then I guess it ended up being on the thing. And he said that he it was his fault because poor judgment of like he trusted this medical expert to like have an understanding of the rules and stuff like that. I don't understand why just NFL players they literally don't.
They should be on testosterone, bro. I want everybody fucking roided out. I don't get it, dude. Drew Brees barely got sacked and he broke like 6 ribs.
He's like 50 years old.
Yeah, I know, but he's like a prime candidate of if anyone in the world needs TRT replacement therapy, it's fucking Drew Brees, 43-year-old ass going up against gigantic human beings.
Yeah,
I mean, like. I just don't understand where it's like, oh my God, he cheated. It's like, dude, these guys' bodies are like falling apart left and right.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just give them some shit to like fix it.
Yeah. I mean, what I was going to say is I don't understand how like these players, they get caught for PDs. Like when they take something, unless they're taking it knowing that it's illegal and they're just trying to get like escape by. It's like, why don't you just call the league or like have your agent reach out to the league?
Yeah,
and be like, hey, like I'm taking X amount of medication. Is this going to get me in trouble? And then the league will be like, yeah, don't take that. And it's just like, okay, like now I know I can't take that.
It's bullshit.
Or even like, I forget who it was. I think it was Golden Tate last year where he was trying to have a kid. I think it was Golden Tate. And he was taking a certain type of medication to boost his testosterone because he wanted to have a baby.
Right.
And then that popped up on the thing. And he was like, well, I already reached out to the league. And I told them, hey, I'm trying to have a kid. This is why I'm doing this. And they were like, okay. But then like they still suspended me. So I don't know. It's just a whole fucking shit show over there. But
we need more clarity.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, you got Will Fuller. He's going to be out for the rest of the season. It kind of sucks because he was having a breakout season. First season without D-Hop. First season he was actually staying healthy, surprisingly. But I mean, without him being there, there's going to be a huge void in that offense. That offense's passing attack right there. I mean, Will Fuller, he made up 21% of Deshaun Watson's completions, 27% of his yards, and 33% of Deshaun Watson's passing touchdowns so far this season. So that's a big chunk of Deshaun Watson. Obviously, Deshaun Watson's value is going to go down too. We're expecting Brandon Cooks to kind of turn into the de facto number 1. He'll probably get a ton of targets, be the main guy that Deshaun looks to now. You got Randall Cobb, who went on IR. He's going to be out a couple weeks. I mean, outside of that, they got rid of Kenny Stills at the worst time. They could really use him right now. So kind of like the last man standing for these receivers here is KeeKee Coutee. I mean, they don't really – Akins gets involved. Darren Farrell gets involved here and there, but those are just tight ends I personally can't rely on. And then Deshaun, he's just never really thrown the ball to the running backs. I mean, we'll see if David Johnson can come back towards the tail end of the season. But even then, I think Duke Johnson finally had his first receiving touchdown of the season this last week on Thanksgiving. So I'm expecting him to look more towards the receivers, Brandon Cooks, and then KeeKee Coutee. Nice little shifty slot guy. I think it was a couple years ago. He had a game where he had like 11, 12, 14 targets, something like that. So a guy who's been in the system for a while. He's just battled some injuries. I think he could be like a sneaky PPR play right here. He'd be a guy where if I need some help at the receiver position, if I need a flex option, I'd maybe go grab KeeKee Coutee. Maybe I'm stashing him just to see what he does this first week, kind of see how this offense runs. But, I mean, if KeeKee Coutee comes out and he gets you 8-9 targets, 7 catches, 60, 70 yards and a touchdown, he's going to be one of the main guys in the waiver wire column next week.
Yeah.
So I'll just go get him. Be a week early.
Yeah, be a week early. Be a week early. Grab KeeKee Coutee. He threw all those letters together really fast. It was funny. It sounded like Anthony. All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the tight end position. So we don't really have anybody for this week. It's like we thought about maybe throwing somebody in here and being like, make the argument for them. But it's like I'm with you on that. I don't want to suggest people to go pick up a tight end to stream that isn't going to work this week. And it's like, you could maybe make the argument for Logan Thomas. They got him a little bit involved in like passing the ball. He threw a touchdown to Terry McLaurin this past week, but it's like, I don't know, man. I don't want to go I'm kind of with you on that. I don't want to go out and tell people to go grab tight ends that I don't truly think will work out for them.
I mean, yeah, the tight end position has just been a landmine. It's hit or miss. I mean, outside of Travis Kelce, who's, that's why he's Travis Kelce. I mean, George Kittle's been banged up. Even then, Kittle had a couple games where he was like 4 for 40, so nothing crazy. But yeah, guys like Hayden Hurst has been more consistent. Zero points a couple weeks ago. I mean, Jonnu's been, boom or bust, 0 points last week. So it's just all over the place. Yeah, it's just tough. I mean, I guess if you're looking for some options there potentially, I would maybe lean Jordan Reed. I know he didn't put up a big game. He saw 6 targets. It's back-to-back weeks where Jordan Reed has seen 6 targets in that passing attack. So maybe that's a guy you go for. Zach Ertz is slated to come off IR. I know he hasn't done anything, but, I mean, maybe we see him kind of emerge towards the end of the season. That'd be like that's like a high-risk, high-reward type of play right there. But, like I said, I mean, there's just really no tight ends that you're like, okay, let me go get this guy, especially this far into the season, heading into Week 13.
Yeah, definitely. My bad.
That was informative.
That was informative. Oh, yeah, I forgot that. So we'll go on to, we always talk about this. Week 13, we're going to go on to some defensive streams. We got some that you can pick up and play. They should be, what do we have at 40% and above available?
I think so. I think the first one is 40% or more.
I want to call you out right now because we made a bet on Washington's defense last week. Actually, and I suggested to pick up the Texans defense, and you said they got negative points the past couple weeks. Well, guess what? Daddy came through because Washington and Texans defense both just spit on everybody. They came in there wet. Fucked them.
I mean, yeah,
Washington. So we did the over/under 8.5 points for Washington's defense. They ended up getting a pick 6. I think they got a fumble recovery. I mean, they just were fucking
finished as so far the 3rd best defense, and the Texans are the 6th best defense. Mine was the Saints; they were the 7th best defense.
Ooh, right, so if you subtract 6 from 3 and you average that out, my math might be wrong on this.
Got a good brain.
My math might be wrong on this, but I think I got the #1 defense if you add those together.
Yeah, pretty good streaming defenses there. So I would like to think that you know what you're doing. That's why we do call you Mr. Miyagi, the mad scientist stream of the week. You do kind of run a fucking fantasy football podcast.
Yeah, that's very true.
Good job, dude. You're making us look good, and you're talking shit. I like it.
Yeah, I actually had somebody.
I like it.
They said that's the hardest thing that they have is defenses and kickers, and I was like, okay, well, you're never gonna get kickers.
Yeah,
right.
Young Hoku.
Now,
did you know that Young Hoku leads the NFL in points? Like he's got more points than anybody.
In fantasy points?
Like just no point, like actually points scored. Like if a touchdown, obviously receptions, yards don't count for receivers. Sense. So if a player has 10 touchdowns, they only have 60 points. But Young Hoku is at like 100 and something points. So he leads.
He should be MVP.
He leads all the.
Young Hoku should be MVP.
He's probably going to be like an All-Pro kicker. I think he finally missed his first field goal last week. He'll probably be like up there with the All-Pro.
You know what I hate is when the kickers, when they're going to line up to kick, and the fucking announcer always says, well, Young Hoku hasn't missed one in over 6 games. And every time they do that, they fucking miss it every single time. And it's like, why do you do that to the poor guy?
I know.
What the fuck?
He's been perfect his whole life, but this is for the game.
It's like,
wide left. Who would have thought?
Cody Parker with the double doink. It's like, dude, what the fuck?
He's made 60 in a row, but the most important one, he just shanked it. Oh, wow. I can't believe it, Bob. I just can't believe it.
I can't believe it. He really, the pressure was on him. He went and he thought he was going to be iced possibly, and it just didn't work out for the young guy. But you give him another chance, and you hate to see that. All right. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll see him on the roster next week. Maybe I didn't do that. Maybe I did jinx it, and I ruined his career. All right, let's move on. All right, but anyways, that was a long tangent, yeah. But. Defensive streams. You got your first two. I picked one of them, but go ahead. We got the Chicago
Bears. Yeah, you got the Chicago Bears. I think they're gonna be. Let's see. I had it written down in my handy dandy notes somewhere in this motherfucker. Okay, yeah, the Bears. They're at home against the Texans. I just said it right now. Texans. No Will Fuller. Not good. That was a good chunk of Deshaun Watson's production. Not good. Bears defensive line, good. Texans offensive line, not good. Team that plays in a dome that's going to now go play outside in the cold, not good. So nice. They're not very good at running the football either, the Texans. So I'm expecting the Bears to come out and put up a decent game right here.
Wait. They don't play. Do they? I think the Bears, am I tripping? The Bears play the Lions this week.
Oh, well, then maybe I looked at the wrong one.
We'll edit.
You are correct here. Even better. I'll still play the Bears against the Lions.
Sorry, I just.
And then now, if you have them for 2 weeks, all right. Let's just say this.
That's actually better. To be
You're going to get the Bears.
That's actually
defense.
better. That's actually
I did look at the wrong week, but if you're looking at the Bears defense, you need a defense. Even looking better at their schedule right here. I mean, you can grab them this week. They're at home against the Lions. Not a bad matchup. I feel confident you can play them against the Detroit Lions. And it's, like I said, another dome team. The Lions offense is not very good. So, yeah, I do like the Bears in that matchup. Then weeks 14, they do play at home against the Texans. That's another good matchup. So you can play them back-to-back weeks. Week 15 at the Vikings. I mean, it's not the sexiest matchup, but it's not the worst matchup. And then week 16 for your fantasy championship, if your championship is in week 16, they're at Jacksonville against the Jaguars. I would 1,000% be dialing up the Chicago Bears that week against the Jacksonville Jaguars. So, yeah, if you can go out and get the Chicago Bears, you could potentially set it. Chicago Bears. You could potentially set it and forget it for the rest of the season with these last 4 weeks.
I will say, you were just thinking the future. You were thinking like, oh, they're great for the next couple weeks.
Yeah.
That's what was happening.
Thanks to save me, dude.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dad.
But you're really making good points, though. Like, that's a crazy lineup. Lions, Texans, Jaguars. I mean.
Yeah.
Definitely better ones. All right, let's go to the next one. Seahawks. What do we got?
Yeah, so I feel like, people are still thinking of the Seattle Seahawks as this defense in the beginning of the year that was just like, 40 points a game. They're just giving up 500, 600 yards a game and, it's not putting up any points. I mean, they've been pretty rough for the majority of the year. But, I mean, they got Jamal Adams back. That's the all-pro safety they traded for. And if you just watch Jamal Adams play, he's just – he like reminds me of like a Troy Polamalu. Like the guy's just all over the place. Maybe not to the extent of like playing free safety, but I mean the guy's just all over the field. He'll come in and get sacked. I think he's got like 6 sacks already. He like leads our team in sacks, and he's missed X amount of games. They get him. They go out and trade for Carlos Dunlap from the Bengals. He's a good defensive end. They got a Damian Snacks Harrison, a good D tackle. So this defense is just got a 3-player upgrade in terms of being better than what they were at the beginning of the year. I mean, they put up 11 points last week against the Eagles. They gave up that garbage time touchdown to Carson Wentz on that Hail Mary. But, I mean, this week they're going to be home against the New York Giants. I mean, it could be the Colt McCoy-led New York Giants. And then weeks 14, they're playing against the New York Jets. Week 15, they're at Washington against the football team. That's not a matchup that you're really scared about. And then week 16, they're against the Los Angeles Rams. They're home in that matchup. Another game where, I mean, last time they played, I think the Rams only scored like 20 points against them, so it wasn't like they blew them out the water. Maybe you play them week 16, maybe you don't. But, I mean, these next 2 to 3 weeks, Giants, Jets, Washington, those are 3 pretty serviceable games, I think, that you could play the Seattle Seahawks if you're looking for a streaming defense that's widely available.
Yeah. Dude, I think I messed this up. Hold on.
Dude, we'll play some music in the meantime.
Yeah, play some music. Direct it.
Jurassic Park music just gets me moist, dude. It gets me right in the mood, dude.
Does it?
Like, dude, if I'm about to work out, dude, it's like, man, I don't really feel like it, but oh, dude, about to hit this bench press.
Okay. I'm ready. I'm ready. All right, so bring me back in. All right, for the next one here, we got the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars in Week 13. We corrected you on yours, and then I thought I missed mine. So, but we got long neck Mike Glennon behind center. All right, no Gardner Minshew. The Jags. We thought that we were wrong on our preseason analysis of the Jaguars. We thought that maybe they weren't as bad as we thought because they lost or they beat the Colts in Week 1. They surprised everybody, and then they haven't won a game since. So they haven't won a game since. It's not that I think the Vikings defense is good because they have actually gotten worse in the past couple years. But I would say that the Jaguars offense is so all over the place that I predict the Vikings can put up some points. I think they could get some picks. I think this is my bold pick of the week. My defense versus your defenses.
So I get 2 defenses against your one defense, and your defense will outscore both my defenses.
Yeah.
All right, dude. You just
all right. I'm feeling confident, baby. All right, yeah. So that's my defensive stream of the week. It could be a rough one, but I think this is more of a deeper ad. To be honest, I would say really, truly, I'm being cocky right now, but go with Tyler's first, maybe. Take the Bears and the Seahawks. The Seahawks is so. You made the art with Jamal Adams, Carlos Dunlap, and all that. Like, so you do sell me on it, but it's like, fuck. Do I put the Seahawks defense in?
Yeah. I mean, the next 2 games for the Seahawks, like I said, they're at home against the Jets and Giants. So are you scared of the Giants and the Jets offense?
No.
And the Seahawks are in the midst
Denzel
of
Mims.
Yeah. But I mean, the Seahawks are in like the middle of like fighting for the division and playing for seeding.
Yeah, they need to win.
I mean, could they potentially, win the first overall seed? I mean, who knows how the things fold out? So I mean, I feel like they're going to be playing. They have something to be playing for. Where the Giants and the Jets, they're not playing for anything. I mean, I guess the Giants technically are, but I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
well said, Maurer.
Well said. All right. Well, that's it on the waiver wire program. If there's anything else you want to get out there, do you want to tell them about your sweet new products? I don't know what
the
I'm
Pocket
saying.
Pussy 5000?
Yeah, Pocket Pussy 5000. It's the best one in town. All right.
No, I mean, you got any questions, hit us up.
Yeah,
like I said,
definitely.
this is kind of like hopefully you're in a good spot to get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
This is what we're here for. So if you need help, hopefully we've helped you in some capacity to, draft certain players, pick certain players up on the waiver wire, start them, sit them, defensive streams, like Mike said.
Ooh,
that's what we're here for. So if you need more advice or a question, we try to give you the best advice that we can. And the advice that we give you is the advice that, we personally do. So, if we're like, hey, start this guy over this guy, that's literally what I'm doing in my own lineup. So,
I was going to say someone did leave a comment asking a question. I figured maybe we could answer it.
Let's do it.
Let's see. Okay, ready? For week 14, would you rather have Panthers defense playing Denver Broncos, San Francisco? This is week 14. Maybe he meant 13. Is that right?
Let me check it up. I'll look at the Panthers real quick.
Yeah. So let's just say.
Maybe he's thinking like ahead, which is good to do.
Yeah,
I feel like I said, at this point, you want to start looking ahead at,
yeah. Definitely
matchups and stuff like that. So, yeah, Panthers are on a bye this week. Week 13.
So
what weird. Week 13 bye. You got the Bucks on a bye. That's terrible. Like, You know, you got Bucks on bye, and then Christian McCaffrey's been banged up, and then week 13 he's out. I mean, that's just terrible. But
so we got Panthers D playing Denver Broncos, San Francisco 49ers playing Washington, or Washington D versus the Niners. I almost like Washington's defense against the Niners.
Yeah, I don't know if I'd go with the Panthers. I get it, the last 2 weeks, 15 and 18 points in ESPN standard defensive scoring. They're going on a bye,
but I mean, quarterbacks back.
Yeah, you know. Yeah. Drew Lock will be back for that game. So yeah, I don't know how much I would bank on the. And you could run on the Panthers, and I feel like what the Broncos want to do is they want to run the ball a decent amount. So that could be like a heavy game of ball control, and I'm not sure if Drew Lock's gonna have to be slinging that thing, So I don't know if I would go with the Panthers. The Niners won against the Washington football team. I mean, they're at home. Well, I guess they're going to be at home. They'll be in Arizona because you hear about that? The Niners, they can't play or practice.
Because Kai was saying that they had to move them.
So the Niners are going to be playing and practicing in Arizona for the next 2 weeks. But, I mean, I think I kind of like the Niners out of those two. I mean, Washington football team's got a good front seven.
Yeah. That's why, depending on who's playing.
Yeah, I mean, if Jimmy Garoppolo's back, maybe then that'll boost things because Nick Mullins obviously is not very good.
Yeah. How about this? Nick Mullins, I'm going Washington. Jimmy Garoppolo, dude.
I just think the Niners defense, they were kind of banged up. Obviously, you lose Bosa and you lose Solomon Thomas, so that kind of hurts. But I feel like, they got a couple players back. Sherman came back. Kinlaw's been getting more incorporated. The rookie, he had the pick 6 last week. They're going to be, it's technically a home game, I guess. We call it a neutral site.
Kai Nakua could start.
Kai Nakua could go. Shout out to Kai Nakua. Joined the Niners last week. Yeah, hopefully by then he could, go. That'd be dope to go to check him out because you can go to the games in Arizona.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would go with the 49ers over that one, slightly over the Washington football team, just because I just don't. I mean, I feel like the Niners offense, they can still run the football. One of the better running teams in the NFL, where Washington I don't know how good they can move the football against the Niners, but that'd be a close one.
Yeah.
You would go Washington though. You like the Washington football team defense a lot.
Yeah. I've streamed them a couple of different weeks this year, and it's worked out for me.
Yeah.
And I also like watching Chase Young.
I mean, 13 and 17 points back-to-back weeks. I mean, they've had some boom games. I mean, they got 1, 2, 3. They've had 4 games of 13 or more points. But then on the flip side, they've had
you just gotta know the right
7
week.
games under 5 points. So they're boom or bust. Or 7 games.
Yeah, I mean, when they play, look, don't play Washington's defense against the Steelers next week.
Yeah.
But it's a given. Anyways, but hopefully that helps. I would say Washington if Nick Mullins is there. If not, I think I'm with you on the 49ers defense. Don't trust the Panthers defense. Unless it's like the same thing where we have what's his name? What was his name? Kendrick Hinton or
I think that was like a once in a lifetime thing of
right. But if you run into a scenario like that, you have to play Panthers defense.
Oh yeah, but I highly doubt that.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna happen again.
Lightning won't strike twice in that bottle or whatever it is.
It could though.
Yeah,
it could.
It was not a flop.
Anyways, but thanks for listening, guys. Go ahead, subscribe, do all that good stuff. You know the deal. All the links are down in the description down below. Under an hour, we did it. Waiver Wire, Week 13.
Time to go watch the Steelers. Fucking.
Yeah. Steelers gonna win. -10.
Steelers defense, baby. I need them. 2 leagues.
And that's just like that. Us big boys are out.